Hey guys, welcome back to Jurassic Collectibles. So this is really an information video for those of you who are planning to visit Kauai or are just interested in Kauai. This is where a lot of the exterior locations of Jurassic Park were actually shot. And I've created this map on Google Maps, and I put a link to it down below so you can travel along with me as we go through some of the locales used in Jurassic Park. So just click on that link if you want to have a look for yourself. And the locations tab at the side, if I just bring these up, you can see all the locations that I've marked on this map. There are more where they shot Jurassic Park, but these are kind of the key ones. Some of them we did manage to visit when me and my wife went there on a honeymoon. Some of them we didn't, but I'm just going to give you an overview of the various locations and what they're like. Okay, so let's kick off with Lihue Airport. That's down here on the southeast of the island, and if you're flying to Kauai, this is kind of where you will land. You can click on each of these links and it'll just give you a little picture of the actual locale and a little bit of information about each one. So if you are flying in, that's most likely where you will land. Now the nearest filming location to Lihue Airport is down here on the jetty, and if you click on this, it will show you the scene from the film when you see the storm crashing into the coast of Jurassic Park. And actually this was shot around here just next to the airport, so you can go and check that out. Maybe when you're coming in on the plane, or maybe when you're leaving. Also, if you're taking a helicopter tour, most of them leave from here, so you might be able to get a good view as you fly over. We have featured this very briefly in one of our on the location videos. I'll put a link to all of those down below because they kind of show in video what we're looking at right now. Okay, so if we go further along the south coast, and we go down to the sort of Poipu Beach area. This is on the south of Kauai, and actually a lot of the sort of hotels and resorts can be found around here. And one of the most interesting ones is the Grand Hyatt Kauai Resort. And this is actually where Spielberg and the crew stayed when they were filming Jurassic Park. And it's probably, I'm not sure, but it's probably where the Jurassic World crew stayed as well. So if we click on this, you can see a nice picture of the Grand Hyatt. And actually, they would have taken shelter here when Hurricane Iniki hit in 1992. So that's quite an interesting bit of information. You might be able to ask some of the staff and see if they remember that happening. But yeah, it's a really nice resort. We did actually visit there and went for dinner there, and it was absolutely amazing. You can see why Spielberg and the crew picked that resort to stay in. Further along the south coast here, we've got Allerton Gardens, and this is home to the Jurassic trees. We did a video on this. Again, link is down below if you want to go and check that out. The road stops around this beach here. The only way you can access the gardens is by going to the National Tropical Botanical Garden here and taking a tour, and it goes along this road, takes you through the blocked off path and into Allerton Gardens, and then you take a tour. It's $40 admission, at least it was when we went in 2014, and it's well worth the money. The garden is absolutely amazing. And they also shot Pirates of the Caribbean 4 there as well. Then if we go back over to the east side of the island, we're going to travel up the east coast past Lihue Airport, and we're going to go up to a little town called Kapa'a. Now Kapa'a was actually home to where Nedry made his deal with Lewis Dodgson at the beginning of the film, the villain from the film. And this is down at Al Pasta's taco stand, which is down on the coast now. I'm going to zoom right in. Again, we have got a video showing where this is, so check out the links down below. Opposite it on the road, ironically, is a big shark that looks like Jaws, and it's kind of hanging around here. So you can't miss it. You just drive up the Kuhio Highway and you'll see it on your right hand side, Al Pasta's Tacos, and the shark on the left. So that's a cool one to go and visit. And actually I had to do a bit of research to find out where that one was, so I'm glad I found it. Just outside of Kapa'a is Poipu Falls. And this is where Donald Gennaro, the lawyer, visited the amber mine at the beginning of the film. You'll remember he walks up here and stumbles and falls. We didn't get a chance to visit that one, but we did see it from afar, and it looked very pretty. So that's cool. Now, further inland is one that a lot of people will want to see, and that's the Jurassic Park gates. Now, I have to say the Jurassic Park gates are very remote and quite hard to get to. It involves a 2-hour hike if you're on foot, and if not, you should be in a four-wheel drive car. You need to be an experienced hiker to do this walk, so I wouldn't expect, if you're with a family, I wouldn't expect you necessarily to get to the Jurassic Park gates. And yeah, so if you click here, this is where the start of the trail for the Jurassic Park gates starts, and this is the point where you have to drive by four-wheel drive car. So you can drive in with a normal car up to here, but from this point onwards, you have to drive with a four-wheel drive car, and this is where the kind of 2-hour hike starts as well. If it's a hot day, you are going to get really hot, so take plenty of water. And like I said, I would only recommend doing this if you're an experienced hiker. There's also lots of streams that sort of run through this path, about 3, and also we came across a giant puddle as well, that wasn't you couldn't cross it without being in a four-wheel drive car. And these regularly flash flood, so you could be stranded, so it's quite a serious thing. So I would go with an experienced guide who's got a four-wheel drive car, something like that. It's probably the best way to get to these gates. So the actual gates, it's quite a tricky thing to find online if you want to find the actual location, but the actual gates are here. So here's where you leave for the four-wheel drive, start the four-wheel drive trail, and here's where the actual gates are. And it's cool, if you zoom on in, I've actually managed to find it on Google Maps. So if you see this line here, there's a shadow cast across the road, and that's one of the concrete stumps that's left behind. So there's one on either side of the road, and that's all that's left of the Jurassic Park gates now. So that's quite cool. You can zoom on into Google Maps and take a look, follow the link down below, and you can go and have a look. Further inland is Blue Hole, and this is where the T-Rex paddock was shot. If you go back to the trail, the start of the trail, I've got a link that guides you through this whole journey all the way through to Blue Hole. So it gives you directions to go past the Jurassic Park gates and onto Blue Hole. So definitely check that out if you're considering going that way. But like I said, if you're going to hike, be an experienced hiker. If not, four-wheel drive and take a guide. Up here on the north of the island, we've got near the Kauai Reservoir, the location where the Brachiosaur was filmed. You can actually get there, it's private land, so the best way to view this is actually on the Kuhio Highway. It continues all the way up to this north part of the island, and you look south across this land. So I've actually pinpointed the best lookout spot. Now it is a highway, so you can't stop, you'll just have to look south and take in the view. But there it is, and again we've done a video on this one, so link is down below if you want to see that in a video segment. Over here on the northwest part of the island, we're near the Hyena State Park. We got Lihue Garden and Preserve, and this is actually where they shot the raptor pen. So that's quite a cool location. And in terms of traveling, if you're at the south of the island, so like we were staying at the south of the island near the Poipu Beach area, and you want to travel all the way up, we rented a car and we traveled all the way around. It took us about 2.5 hours to get to Lihue Garden and Preserve. So that just gives you some idea how long this round trip takes, and that was with only a few stops. We were quite quick at stopping, so if you're doing a lot of pictures and a lot of stopping, it might take you all day, but it just gives you an idea of the sort of the time that you should reserve for this road trip. So that's Lihue Garden and Preserve. Over here on the west coast, the northwest coast, is Nepali Coast, and this is very famous. It's been featured in loads and loads of holiday guides and National Geographic, because it's just a beautiful landscape. If I click on this, you can see here it says Nepali Coast, and this was actually featured in not only the first Jurassic Park, but The Lost World as well. This is actually where the cargo boat carrying the cars, the vehicles, with Ian Malcolm and Eddie Carr. It's also used for the helicopter flying in the first film, so it's definitely worth a look. The best way to get to see this coast is via a boat, and there's a lot of boat tours. If you ask someone at your hotel, they'll be able to point you in the direction of a good boat tour. And I've actually pinpointed the location on Google Maps where you can see that view of the Jurassic Park location. So yeah, definitely check that out. Now, last but not least, here is Jurassic Falls. Now, this can only be accessed via helicopter. It's not something you can hike to or drive to. There are helicopter tours that stop there, half an hour to look at the place, and then they take you away again. So maybe before you go, you want to plan your journey and make sure that you can actually visit this location. But yeah, very famous Jurassic Park Falls. Okay, guys, so that's it. That's an overview of the filming locations for Jurassic Park. I hope you enjoyed this look at the map. Make sure you check out the links down below, not only to the map, but also to our filming location video. And I hope you enjoyed this. Okay, guys, rate, comment, and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next video.